Hi everyone, my name is April from Unsolicited Plant Talks and welcome back to our channel. Today I wanted to cover the topic of fertilizing and how to fertilize your Hoyas and share my experience with fertilizing, and maybe there is something that you can pick up from it. So if you are interested, make sure you stay tuned. If you are new to fertilizing, it can be daunting, and I completely understand. There's so many different options, there's so many different numbers on the bottle, you probably don't even know where to start. And the last thing you want is to give your Hoyas the wrong thing and burn the leaves and kill them. So hopefully I can give you an idea of how to do it, and then maybe you can apply it to your routine. What really is fertilizing? Why do we have to do this? In the wild, nature constantly replenishes the nutrients in the air and the soil for the plants. And in cultivation, those nutrients get washed out from the pots, so we kind of have to fill the pantry, so to speak. You're going to see so many different types of fertilizers out there, and you're going to see 3 numbers on the bottles, and those represent NPK. N is for nitrogen, and it helps with your leafy growth, so you're going to have bigger leaves. Depending on your environment, you're going to have darker leaves, and overall, just the look of your plant, it's going to be lush. P is for phosphorus, and phosphorus is for your root growth and your blooms. K is for potassium, and it gives your plant resilience to diseases. So it just makes it a little bit stronger, kind of like an immune booster. So NPK, leaf, bloom, resilience. So if you can remember that, you're golden. I wanted to talk about the one that I personally use so I can give you my experience, because we're all going to have different experiences, not just because we use different types of fertilizers and different NPK values, but also because of our environment. So I'm going to speak from my experience based off my environment, and I'm going to share with you the environments where I'm growing my Hoyas in, so you'll have an idea how to kind of manipulate the way that you're going to adapt this new information that you're going to learn from me a little bit based off of your environment. And just to kind of make it a little bit simpler, if my greenhouse gets a lot of light and a lot of humidity and plants are growing like crazy, and your cabinet and your growing space are not, you might not want to use the same strength that I'm using, because your plants are not growing fast enough to be able to use up all of the fertilizer, the nutrients you're giving it, and we might have different results. With that being said, let's get started. I brought a plant today to give you guys a visual representation of how fertilizing will affect your Hoyas. Now, in my opinion, fertilizing is not just to feed your plants. There is an art to fertilizing, and I usually keep an eye on how they grow so I can give a little bit better information for whenever I start selling them or carrying them on the store. So I have this really good example that I wanted to show you guys. This is Hoya species Tangamas round leaf, and I imported this a while back. I actually have never seen this in circulation. I fell in love with this the very first time I saw it, and so yeah, I imported it. You guys know that I don't import as much, but because like I said, I haven't really seen this in circulation as much. So this is the original leaf that I fell in love with when I first saw it, and that is why I bought it. It has really thick leaves. These veins actually protrude so you can feel them, especially when you grow them in a very warm environment and lots of light. And I just love the contrast between the leaf and the veins itself. And obviously, I love that it's round. I just love everything about this plant. I had to switch out that plant because I wanted to show you guys some more leaves and some more examples without showing you guys the leaves that I was going to use as my examples for when I fertilized and didn't like what it came out to be. You see how beautiful these guys are? Given the right condition, the veins pop and you can actually feel them. So it has that really beautiful texture. Also, the edges are a little bit rough and ragged. I don't know the proper term for it, but it is a little bit rough and it is a little bit textured as well. And I really love that about this plant. I don't know if you guys are not falling in love with it, but if you guys are not, I don't know what's wrong with you. So that plant is not really as popular. Actually, I haven't really seen anybody who's selling that. So when I first saw it, I imported it because it is so unique. I love it. I fell in love with it. But there's also that new challenge when I obtain a new specific Hoya that I wanted to know how to grow it properly first before cultivating and selling, so that I can give a little bit better care advice for whenever customers like you might want to add it to your collection. So I'm growing it and I'm trying to work my fertilizing magic with it. I started growing it in a bright environment, because the very basic rules of growing Hoyas that you want to have really thick leaves is to give it lots of light and warm environment. This kind of sends signal to the plant itself that says, oh my gosh, it's so hot, it's bright, that we have to have a reservoir of water, and more water means thicker leaves so they can store some more. Now this actually doesn't show. Look how cute these leaves are. This actually doesn't show what it looked like when I just grew it with no fertilizing, nothing special, in bright, hot environment. It became much brighter, like the green, not the veins, but the green part of the leaves became much, much lighter, almost neon green. And the veins actually started to become a lot lighter too, like this. And I did not like it because I love, like I said, I fell in love with that specific look of not too dark green leaves. It's lighter green, and then your veins are very dark. So I said, okay, time to add the fertilizing, time to add magic. And how I fertilize my Hoyas is I fertilize every week full strength. And the plant was very happy. It started growing like crazy, but the problem was it started growing leaves that were not very appealing to me, in my opinion. Let me show you. Here is the leaf that first came out when I first started fertilizing it routinely every week, right here. The leaf is still very beautiful, honestly. I still love that it's round and it's still thick. It's not as thick as I would like it to be, but you can tell that it lost a lot of its venation, a lot of its contrast between the veins and the leaf itself, and I was not happy. So I said, I need to slow down on fertilizing it because that's not what we're trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to grow it for. So you see what I'm saying? Even though you are growing your plant happily, just because it's growing really fast and really big doesn't necessarily always mean that like it's what's best for them. It's all personal opinion, so please don't kill me. It's all personal opinions. I'm not very happy with this, as you can tell. You don't have to like it like I do. Based off of what I had just explained to you, you would at least understand why I am not happy with the results of fertilizing it every week full strength of the SeaGrow 16-16-16. So then I said I need to cut back a little bit because I am not happy with the results, and this is why I call it art of fertilizing your Hoya. No matter what, whether I do a diluted fertilizing or a full strength or nothing at all, the Hoya is still growing very well in my care with the environment that I'm trying to provide it. So it's just a matter of where in the sliding scale do I want it to be and how I wanted to grow this Hoya so I can bring out all of the qualities that I fell in love with the very first time I saw this Hoya. So then I cut back my fertilizing to every 2 weeks. So instead of every week, I did every other week so that I can see how the plant is going to react if I do it that way. And this is the result of fertilizing every other week. You see how the veins are starting to come back, right? But I feel like there's still not enough contrast. And not just that, look how flat these are. And I'm talking about the textures because the veins will usually pop up, and I really love the texture of that. Compared to this original leaf, you can see these veins are really prominent and you can feel it. I don't know if you guys can see it very well on the video, but yeah, you can feel that, and I really, really love that specific characteristics from this plant. This is what it looks like after fertilizing it every other week, although I think it's beautiful and I think it's finally coming back to where I wanted it to be. I was still not very happy with how it's coming out. I still feel it's not as contrasting. The veins are not as dark, and just the overall look is not where I'm happy at. I am happy with how this looks like, but I know what it can do. I know its capabilities. So I wanted to see if I can recreate that by still maintaining the proper care and keeping the plant happy as much as I can. So then in my situation, because I have hundreds and hundreds of Hoyas that I am growing, I'm not really trying to give every single one of my species or cultivars a very specific care unless it is very special, or it's just so way far from how my other Hoyas are needing care, and then I'll make an exception. But for this one, I think it's not that sensitive. So instead of diluting my fertilizer, which I could have done, but because my fertilizer is attached to my hose, there's really no other way for me to, okay, this specific area is gonna get half fertilized, and like it's gonna get a little bit more complicated for me, and it's gonna add a little bit more work on my end, and I'm not trying to add more work for myself. So then I said, you know what, I'm just gonna make sure I avoid that area, and I only fertilize once a month, and that should do it for me. It's still going to get the nutrients that it's going to need. It's just not gonna get it too much to the point that it's going to jam pack all of those new leaves with the nutrients that I'm giving it, and I'm losing all of the characteristics that I fell in love with. So I started doing that, and I said, let me see what it would look like if I just fertilize once a month. And this is the result right here. I freaking love these leaves. I love these new leaves that I am getting. So this is the leaf that I am trying to get to. You can tell that there is still that texture on the leaf right there. Ooh, look at that. It's so sexy. So I can still feel off the textures, and the leaf is not too washed out. It's not too lime green, and the veins still pop, and it's much, much darker. And I am so in love. I think I found that perfect balance for how I wanted to grow it. And you know what? It's not going to be perfect all the time, because depending on the growing season, if it's growing way too fast, then it's probably going to need a little bit more fertilizing from my end, because it's going to look a little bit more lime green. And if it's growing really slow during winter and I'm fertilizing once a month, there's still that big possibility that it's going to come out very dark green. I'm going to lose some of the nation, and it's going to look like the one that I showed you guys that I'm not happy with. So there's so many moving pieces in this puzzle that I cannot tell you black and white, this is what you need to do. This has to be your schedule. This has to be how much you have to feed your Hoyas. But I wanted to show you guys these examples so I can give you an idea what it looks like if you over-fertilize your Hoyas, under-fertilize your Hoya, or not fertilize at all, obviously based on the looks itself. And I'm not talking about burning them or making them really sad because they're not getting nutrients at all. I'm talking about when your Hoya is happy and you have been fertilizing and you're trying to bring out all of the characteristics that you want from them. To give a very basic recap, when you grow a Hoya in lower light, you're going to have thinner leaves but darker leaves, and it's going to be so beautiful. Certain Hoyas love that. They actually look much better that way. So it all depends on the Hoya that you're trying to grow. If you grow them in highlight, they're going to have thicker leaves. If they are able to produce anthocyanins, which are the chemicals that are responsible for them to change colors, then it's going to change the colors of the leaves. It's going to be a little bit red, burgundy, black, whatever the plant is capable of. And this is what can look like for Hoyas that have specific characteristics if you fertilize, over-fertilize, under-fertilize. So I hope that helps. Now, here's another point that I really wanted to drive into you guys in this video. This is all preference. This is the art of fertilizing Hoyas. And usually, if you're an artist, you see things differently from your perspective. You might like the darker leaves. You might like the very thin, bigger leaves, super dark green leaves, and you might think that's more appealing to you. So that means you just wanted to up your fertilizing game. If you don't like that, you can copy what I was doing and then see if you can find that perfect balance for you and perfect schedule to get to the point where you wanted to go. Now, it does not apply to all of your Hoyas. Just because that's how I grow mine doesn't mean that is the rule. So let me show you another Hoya that this doesn't really apply to. Let me see if I can show it to you guys without showing the final product. These were the original leaves. These are the what I call the donor leaves, because these were the original leaves when I propagated them, so they might not be the best looking leaves at the moment. But this is Hoya species Kapuas Hulu silver. This is the round form. It is pure silver. It does grow really beautiful circular leaves, and it's really beautiful. This is what they can look like. They can grow bigger leaves right here. Whether you highly fertilize it or not, it is going to look silvery. Now, if you grow it in bright light, then the base color of the leaf, which is the dark green underneath the silver, is going to be bright colored. You're not going to get that really beautiful contrast. So if you grow it in bright light and you're not fertilizing, that's what it's going to look like. Now, if you fertilize, you're going to get that really beautiful leaf, like this one, right? You're going to get these beautiful color if you fertilize, and you're gonna get bigger leaves. Now, what happens if you over fertilize this Hoya? It's silver. It's not gonna make it more silver. It's not gonna make it less silver, but it's definitely going to affect the shape of the leaves. It's going to affect how thin or thick the leaves are based on your environment as well. Like I said, there's so many different pieces on this puzzle, so it's not necessarily going to change it as much. And let me show you guys what over fertilizing of this Hoya looks like without burning it. This is what you can get. You're probably thinking, what is so different about that leaf compared to the ones that you showed us? This is a massive leaf. It is so big that I've never seen it this big before. Like I said, the ones that I normally see in circulation and in cultivation are this big, and I started fertilizing it, and I wanted to see how it's going to react with a lot of fertilizer, because I also wanted to know how sensitive this specific species is when it comes to over fertilizing, because then I can give a little bit better advice for when people come to me and say, how do I fertilize this plant, or what's wrong with my plant, or why is it looking like this, so then I can diagnose it a little bit better and give a little bit better recommendation. But yeah, look how big. It probably doesn't even show as much on the camera. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty big, and you can see compared to me how massive this leaf is. And I'm so freaking in love. I'm so in love. So this is one of those Hoya species that I would probably be okay over fertilizing and growing them big like this compared to the other one. The other one, I can get it to grow big leaves like this as well, but it's just not gonna look as good for me because that's not the quality that I'm trying to bring out to the plant. This one, you want to bring out the silver on this plant because that is its most beautiful quality, and doesn't matter whether your leaves are smaller or bigger, it's still going to be silvery. So it's just up to you. Do you want cute smaller leaves, or do you want massive leaves? And then if you want smaller leaves, don't fertilize as much, give it a little bit more light. If you want bigger leaves, fertilize a little bit more and give it a little bit lower light, and you're gonna be golden. I hope I clarified some stuff with you guys when it comes to fertilizing. I hope you guys learned something from this video. If I said something wrong, please let me know down below, because I'm all into trying new things and learning new things. If there's something that you guys wanted me to try, or if you have questions because you wanted to know but you are so scared to do the experiment on your own, let me know down below, because if I can do it, that will be really fun. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family so I can continue to make these videos. Thank you so much for being patient with me. And if you wanted a community of people like me, make sure you visit over-fertilize.com. This is a community that Unsolicited Plant Talks is curating at the moment. We have a lot of people who are into plants there. And if you have any questions, concerns about how you're growing your plants, and you don't have anybody to ask, and Google is not giving you the proper answer, because we've all been there, right? We've all been there. Make sure you hop onto over-fertilize.com. There are going to be live selling. There are going to be live chores where people just go live and share their experiences and how they're growing their plants. There are going to be educational lives where people talk about how to grow specific plants and what's going on, and how to curate a specific environment for specific plants. So yeah, so if you're interested, it's over-fertilize.com, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you there. Bye bye.